First of all, thank you, Wedu, for inviting me to this event. It's been a great pleasure to address all of you. So, congratulations to Wedu and the Japan Foundation for organizing this Women Leadership Summit. And welcome to the young women leaders across Asia, around the world, who are attending this exciting event. My name is Rina Neoh and I am Malaysian. I was born and raised in this lovely island of Penang, famous for its soft, sandy beaches and fondly regarded as the capital of Malaysia. I graduated with a bachelor's degree in computer science and an MBA degree in international business, and now working on my doctoral degree in business administration. Everything else I learned from School of Hard Knocks. I started my entrepreneurial journey at the age of 8 while selling fish balls in our neighborhood and developed my marketing skills as a little shampoo girl in my mom's hair salon. I'm proud to fund my school allowance from the profits I made and the tips I received from my happy customers. My corporate journey began with the two biggest technology companies, Microsoft and IBM, where I learned to sell computer solutions to big government and private sectors. My entrepreneurial passion caught up with me again when I co-founded Mercatus Capital, a Singapore-based startup incubator venture accelerator where I helped to seed and fund more than 80 companies or startups across Asia. Then after learning the ropes, I decided to set up my own venture, RXL Capital, which I invest as an angel investor, and recently set up Ficus Venture Capital, a venture capital arm based out of Malaysia. It is my honor to deliver the keynote address in this summit with the theme Beyond Boundaries. As a woman empowerment advocate myself, I fully support the objective of this summit: to promote gender equality and advance women's leadership in Asia. To inspire our young attendees, all of you here, through the women role models who are speaking in this summit. To foster new connections among the future women leaders in Asia who will lead in the age of disruption. Connection is very, very important. At the very stage of women leadership journey, we are challenged to navigate through several boundaries. First, we are faced with structural and institutional barriers, whether we call it glass ceilings or walls, that conspire to limit women participation in male-centric systems and spaces. Second, I think we encounter internalized cultural norms and societal restrictions that limit our ability to pursue our dreams or achieve success. Against these real and present boulders and barriers, some of us continue to pursue our leadership goals, to traverse new territory, claim new ground, and ultimately redraw the map. I would like to share my reflections on 3 important issues that I hope you can further discuss or address during the panel discussion, interactive networking, and mentoring activities that we do have scheduled and prepared for you today. First, how real are the structural and institutional barriers which prevent women from claiming their right to pursue their own careers or advance their causes? Second, how does social conditioning hinder women from developing a growth mindset and prevent them from reaching their full potential as a person? Third, how do women keep the balance between adjusting to the environments that are beyond their control while remaining authentic and true to their values and beliefs? The first reflection, really, how real are the barriers that prevent women from breaking through the glass ceilings in organizations? In a report in 2013, McKinsey and Company came up with the results of a global research study entitled Women Matters, and it involves 1,400 managers and executive members around the world to evaluate gender diversity in top management roles. The relevant findings are as follows. First, companies with 25% representation of and in their executive committees perform significantly better than companies with no women at the top management, with 47% higher return on equity and 55% higher earnings before income tax. Second, in terms of career ambition, women have the same ambition as men to reach the top management position. 81% for men and 79% for women in that survey. The third, in terms of career growth, however, we women are less confident than men that we will get a middle management role. Only 76% for men and 58% for women in the response. And fourth, in terms of career advancement, women are less confident than men that they will get a senior management position. 86% for men and 69% for women. And fifth, there are three important barriers that explain the slow advancement of women in their leadership career. So let me share with you what are the barriers. First, women are penalized in the current leadership performance model. For example, both men and women respondents recognize that a top corporate career requires executives to be available anytime, anywhere. This leadership model requires sacrifices in both personal and family life, in which it is more difficult for women than men to achieve. 80% of respondents said that having children was compatible with a top-level career for men, but only 62% said having children was compatible for women. Barrier number 2. Prevailing leadership styles do not help women find their way to the top. It's sad, right? Both men and women respondents, 30% and 40%, believe that women's leadership and communication styles are incompatible with the prevailing styles at the top management of their companies. For example, women tend to practice a more participative decision-making styles. We like to participate, we like to share a lot, as compared to men. While women look at this, our personal strength, it is often seen as a sign of weakness. It shows inability to make hard decisions. It's heart-wrenching, but it's true, right? And the third barrier, women are perceived to be less open or direct in advancing their own career. For example, in a research in 2020 entitled Women at Work Report by Wonder Mill Research, 72% of men would aspire to take over their manager's role. So they want to be better than managers, but only 47% of women would aspire to do that. We are so afraid that, we aspire to take over our senior or our managers. While 88% of men would be comfortable asking for a raise from their boss, only 62% of women would do so. So this is a fact, and this is going to be a problem for all of us. So we need to address that. On the second reflection, we talk about societal barriers that a woman needs to confront to overcome gender biases and prejudice to advance their career. Many of the internal barriers faced by women today have their roots in our social conditioning and the social norms of how girls are raised in many societies. I remember my mom asking me not to climb trees. So these traditional societies continue to reward girls for being good and gracious rather than being bold and ambitious. Social pressures often reinforce a feeling of low self-esteem, which develop three limiting mindsets. that manifest themselves in a woman's career. The first mindset, feeling of self-doubt, commonly referred to as imposter syndrome. In 2020, McKinsey study came up with a report, Women in the Workplace, and it supports the observation that men are more often promoted based on their potential, whereas we women are promoted based on our past accomplishment. This bias forces women to believe that they need to prove themselves. We work so hard to prove ourselves, we can't. Whereas, others are promoted based on the potential. Right? So the bias forces women to believe that we need to prove ourselves to get the attention and respect of others. Some women assume the worst of themselves even before others form an opinion of them in the workplace. So please don't do that, right? Women also tend to downplay their achievements, especially around others. We're very humble. We don't want to be seen as promoting ourselves. This behavior protects them from possible negative judgments and shaming from others. The idea of self-promotion is synonymous with bragging, which is tough for women to do when coupled with social conditioning. The second mindset, fear of missing out, or commonly known as FOMO, that some of you have heard. Social conventions make women feel ashamed if their homes or families or children shows the slightest indication of neglect. This causes women to work unbelievably hard, to feel the responsibilities entrusted to them. They fear of being seen as, oh my God, you're a bad mother, a bad wife, or a bad daughter. This creates a totally impossible situation for women, which makes them afraid to act boldly because of fear of failure. Many women, and I used to be guilty of that as well, many women are often imprisoned by self-limiting beliefs such as, I cannot disappoint my family, I have to uphold the grace of the family, and I have to be perfect all the time, and I will never be good enough. Please don't ever think of that, right? This is very negative. And the third mindset, striving to be perfect, or sometimes, it's obsessive compulsive behavior, I would call it, right? Women are incredibly prone to making extraordinary effort to mask their supposed inaptness by trying to be perfectionist. And sometimes I'm guilty of that as well. Social conditioning makes women feel that if a task is not done properly or perfectly, then it is not good enough. So we must go and do it until it's perfect. Now, this causes women to pay extraordinary attention to ensure that the smallest details are done right, for fear that the task will not be as good as it should be. While it sounds admirable to be a perfectionist, perfectionism causes women to obsess over every minute detail, study exhaustively, stay up much later, work harder, redo tasks over and over. The need to always conform to what is considered perfect is draining both themselves and everyone around them. You sort of like, if a perfectionist is around you, you feel so stressed about it, right? So try to balance it. Nothing is perfect in this world. We are not perfect, right? And the third and a final reflection that I'd like to share with all of you. So how can we women break down the structural, institutional, and societal barriers that keep them from growing and becoming the best version of themselves or ourselves, right? Now, let me share with you 3 important principles to redraw your inner map and enjoy your journey throughout life. Life is a journey itself, not the beginning or the end, but it's the journey itself. Now, the first principle that you should know is know why or purpose, right? Know that the motivations that drive you each day, what motivates you to wake up, feel excited about the day, the intentions behind your action. Okay, just don't do things for the sake of doing it. And what your life purpose is. Is there a bigger purpose than just living, right? And believe that you deserve all the good things that life has to offer. When people say you're beautiful, don't say no. When people say you're not, no, I'm not smart. Okay, believe that you deserve all the good things in life that has to offer you, and claim your right to pursue your own happiness, regardless of what others think about you. Okay, and when your core beliefs are clear, you don't need to worry about coming off too strong or too aggressive. You don't need the validation of others to feel good about yourself. Remember, and I'm going to stress this, remember that you are complete as you are, with all your strengths and weaknesses, because we are human beings. We are not perfect. So embrace that, your strength, embrace your weaknesses. The second principle, okay, this is very important. Please be kind to yourself. If you want others to respect you, first, you must respect yourself. That means be kind to yourself and not expecting everything that you do to be perfect. Okay? Don't put so much pressure on yourself. Now, if you cannot be kind to yourself, you will never love yourself enough to believe you deserve to be heard or to be treated with respect. By creating compassion for yourself, you don't need to be excessively critical about the little failures in life, right? Everybody will encounter some form of failures throughout their journey, right? So remember that you're always a work in progress, right? You're always a work in progress, unfinished, but unlimited, meaning you have the potential, right? So this is very important. This is what I keep reminding myself every day. The third principle, which I believe is equally important, is be true to who you are. It's very hard to pretend to be somebody. Believe that you have the power. Believe that your power comes from who you are, not from what you do. Your success as a woman should not be defined by what society thinks, but by what you believe in, right? Be true to your inner calling, and don't let the noise outside stop you from listening to your own voice. Because, when we grew up, we listen to our parents, and then, when we go to school, listen to teachers. But have you ever stopped, paused, and listened to what you really want? What makes you happy, right? As the singer and songwriter Rihanna said, there is something so special about a woman who dominates in a man's world. It takes a certain grace, strength, intelligence, fearlessness, and the nerve to never take no for an answer. This is very powerful, right? Remember that putting yourself first is not about being selfish, but actually taking care of yourself. An important step in your growth journey, right? Self-care is important. Now, when you appreciate who you are, others will also do, because you teach people how to treat yourself, right? And finally, as the famous children author Dr. Seuss would say, be who you are and say what you feel, because those that mind don't matter, and those that matter don't mind. Have a great summit. Wishing you all the success you deserve, and thank you for having me.